This is Ashton Forbes.
I can tell the difference between people who are honest and people who aren't in about 5 seconds.
No, you can't.
I grew up in the internet age, so I'm very familiar with it. So don't try to fool me. Don't try to act cute, whatever.
Ashton Forbes thinks
the United States has warp drives and teleportation technology. They're hiding free energy from the world.
Don't forget about...
This is like saying that my butthole is your butthole because they're similar, right? It's not, we don't have the same butthole because of that.
And most people will not platform somebody who's saying things like that.
Ashton Forbes has been pushing this narrative about MH370 that disappeared a number of years ago.
News tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing. At this hour, a desperate search is underway for MH Flight 370, which departed Kuala Lumpur at 12:41 a.m. local time and was due to land in Beijing at 6:30 a.m. Air traffic control lost contact with the plane about 2 hours after takeoff. Whether the disappearance is due to mechanical problems, pilot error, or even terrorism is yet to be determined.
Ashton has been pushing forward this theory that our government has been hiding teleportation from us.
These 2 different videos that have emerged over the years, and when you sync them up, they're synced up from 2 different sources. They've not been debunked. The opposite of debunked. They've been bunked, actually.
We'll see about that.
And so what are we looking at here when we talk about these like plasmas?
Physics is scale invariant. So we were talking about atoms.
Yeah, right. And now we scale it up to this 20-foot ball of plasma that might just be an atom. They've recreated an atom.
And then they're taking this same concept of quantum.
Hey, I just want everybody to pay attention to this part because it's going to come back and bite him in the ass here in just a few minutes. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Just pay attention.
Some entanglement that might be at the tiniest scales, and they're using it on the plane.
Well, that dumb cunt, you know he's retarded, yeah?
I think they're mimicking an atom.
Retarded, yeah?
So the crazy part is you watch the video very closely, the drone video. When the orb first shows up, it's yellow and green. And then when it starts to spin around the plane, you can see the yellow parts start to move towards one edge. And the reason why it's doing that is because the magnetic field is pulling the electrons towards it. So when it spins around the plane, it basically goes from a mode where it's just the electron shell around the nucleus to a point where the electrons are being manipulated as it spins around the plane. Why are academics afraid to talk to me? Physicists are afraid to talk to me about this stuff.
Retarded, yeah?
Despite the fact that there is overwhelming evidence, like
thermal
this
shot.
right here.
Thermal cameras, like they don't have grain. It's not underexposed footage. And if there's any sort of noise pattern, notice it's a fixed noise pattern. Yeah. It's the idea of like your image is under almost like a dirty lens.
How do you make it look like it's thermal? Well, there's a filter in After Effects called Colorama. What Colorama does is it goes, all right, let's take black to white, and instead of do black to white, we're gonna fill it in with different colors along the way, a rainbow, a spectrum. And then, you know, that looks like thermal footage, it's just not accurate. However, in this case, we see the engines are hot, so maybe you go in, touch up the engines, give them a little, track some like heat points on there. One weird thing I'm noticing with the thermals is on that shockwave in the second clip, like how cold is that shockwave?
Wait,
like is that like a 0? And so I'm confused why it's so dark when like we clearly see the engines are like hot points. We're getting the yellows, the reds.
Because if it's a super dark hole, why is it so bright there? And then in the other one, it's like a pitch black abyss.
And then there's this right here.
The crazy thing about thermals is they see through mist and smoke and all that kind of stuff. If we look at this clip from Veritasium, we can't see them because photons can't pierce the fog. But that deep infrared, that long wavelength of red goes right through it. The fog is invisible to infrared. So those plain contrails shouldn't even be showing up on thermals.
What about this one right here?
The underlying footage is CGI. It's a 3D render.
On top of a still frame of clouds.
On top of a still frame of clouds, and the reason it is the particle effect, the trail from the plane. Those are sprites overlaid on top of each other, giving us this additive, stacked opacity, which creates that buildup in the highlight that we see there.
Did I mention this one right here?
I found the stock footage.
You did! You got it!
Yeah, rather, we didn't. Some people on Reddit did. This is a stock footage clip from the 90s.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's the clip from the video, and here is the stock footage.
It's perfect!
It's perfect!
An ISA, dude, an identified stock asset.
Some people have said, you know, pixels don't match perfectly. And you know what? Of course they don't match perfectly. I don't have the exact settings that the artist used, but if you look at it, it's the exact same.
So that was the YouTube channel Corridor Crew, and they are professional VFX artists and animators. They just gave quite a few points on why it was not legit, but they didn't see the main one I'm fixing to show you now. And this is devastating, I'm sorry to say. And then there's another one after it, so check this out. I want you to take a look at this first couple frames. And what do you see here? Ladies and gentlemen, the plane flies over the fixed part of the camera system right there. That would never happen. It does it about 8-9 times throughout this whole video. I'm going to play the video again. You can slow it down if you'd like and watch the plane go over that fixed part of the system multiple amount of times. That in itself is damning. I did 3 of them at the beginning of the video. I numbered them 1, 2, 3. Go back and look at them and blow the pictures up. I'm going to adjust the color levels right here so you can see that there's 4 of these part of the system, or they're supposed to be part of the system, but if you see this jet goes over them quite a few number of times. It wasn't masked right. So that in itself is enough to disprove this whole thing. But another thing is, if there's 2 of these videos shot, one's a plane and one's a satellite, one's flying right here up under these contrails, if you see right here, and the other's a satellite view. Why can't we see this Reaper in that satellite video? You would think that we would see that, being that it's flying really close to it right there, and it's flying up under its contrails. Has anybody ever thought about that? This case is over. I don't want to hear Ashton's mouth anymore about this. I hope the video was entertaining, eye-opening, informative. If you would, guys, would you subscribe, like, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you see something I didn't. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll see you next time.
Did I get scammed?
You know he's retarded, yeah?